After Darth Vader's death in Return of the Jedi, it wasn't only the Empire who was reeling, now it was the Mustafarians who were getting ideas. Two Mustafarian youths who had grown up under the oppression of Darth Vader were now ready to dismantle the castle once they found out what had happened to Darth Vader and the Empire. Inside, though, awaited them a Mustafarian elder who told them horror stories about Darth Vader's castle and everything that went on inside. This elder told them of a story of a fool who thought he knew best. A fool who was never the same again, as lava was bubbling up outside of Darth Vader's castle. We cut to three characters talking amongst themselves. One is an imperial officer, the other is going mad. In the middle of them, a droid. This imperial inspector knew exactly why the imperial command had sent him here. It was because of gibbering lunatics like this one, who had gone insane, and this wasn't the only one. He asked the droid, how many troopers is that now? And the droid answered with at least a dozen. They all ended up the same way. Their minds just snapped. The lunatic was pleading to not set him back in there. He was shouting they came up from the floors. The inspector thought these were weak-minded people who were just scared of shadows. Shadows? The madman questioned. He jumped and grabbed the inspector by his uniform. Did he wanted to see shadows? Then be my guest, Inspector, said the lunatic. Step inside his lair. They were everywhere. The eyes, they were watching and waiting. He can't get him out of his head, but the droid used the stun weapon to incapacitate him and get him off the inspector's back. Now the inspector was ready to see for his own eyes and get to the bottom of this lunatic's words. And so the inspector ventured inside the castle. Slowly but surely, you can see the lava gas coming out of the chambers. The place was gigantic. The inspector wanted to hear from somebody, but there was nobody around. He wandered from room to room, hallway to hallway, every step leading him deeper into the stronghold's labyrinth embrace. Again, he asked for Lord Vader, but nobody was around. It was only then that he began to wonder if he should have listened to the poor, crazed trooper. He thought he saw ghostly figures in the shadows flickering in and out of existence, watching, waiting, hurting him on. You could clearly see his worry in his face. Then he started talking to himself. These are just hallucinations, that's all. These are illusions created by the fumes seeping up from beneath the foundation. That had to be it. This was an imperial fortress after all, and he was a loyal subject of the Emperor himself. As now behind him the gas had overwhelmed the space, where he finally ventured into the place that he was destined to come by. Darth Vader's chambers, where he was healing and meditating. Vader asked the inspector what does he want from him. He had been sent by Moff Seward. The stormtroopers who had been assigned to this fortress. He started coughing uncontrollably. Vader answered, they have been going mad. Now the cough deepened. The inspector thought that these troopers were weak-minded, but after coming here, these gases, they are incredibly toxic. The castle isn't safe, according to the inspector. He could only recommend that they evacuate immediately and install environmental filters. No, said Darth Vader. But what does he mean, no, said the inspector. It was alright for him to float inside that tank wearing a respirator, but for them, they have to breathe this stuff. And right at that time, as he was chastising Vader, a Sith ghost came up right behind him, told him that this was all right for you. On closer inspection, this ghost is wearing a cape and a helmet that clearly resembles Darth Revan. It is a great tease by the artist to showcase this figure specifically. As the inspector was startled, this means that the illusions and the ghosts of Darth Revan were appearing to Darth Vader inside his chambers, and I'm saying this is Darth Revan because once we go to the other panel, we see a multitude of other ghosts haunting the inspector, but they have eyes. They have these yellow eyes that Sith adorned, or perhaps scary ghosts, whatever they elected to go with. However, as I said, this kind of confirms that this ghost is wearing a mask because we cannot see his eyes. There are not a lot of Sith who wore a complete face mask other than, of course, our favorite Darth Revan. So that gives me credence to believe that this is Darth Revan's ghost inside Vader's castle, as well as others who now haunted the Inspector, but Darth Vader needed a servant, someone to attend his needs, and that's why he was lured in here. Vader deemed him to be the best candidate to arrive for months. The Inspector now was going mad. He pleaded with Vader to release him. The fumes, he can see terrible, terrible things, but Vader instructed him to look upon them. "Tell me, what do you see?" "No," said the Inspector, "they're not real. I know they're not real. You can't scare me. I'm an Imperial officer." I laugh at such notions, but as he slowly started laughing, now he amplified that to uncontrollable laughter, and he continued to laugh for days on end without interruption, and days until he was finally a complete lunatic. Very Joker-esque. Now he was finally ready to serve Darth Vader, to serve every particular need that he had inside this castle. And when Vader asked, "What is your name?" the servant finally revealed himself to be Revan'S, calling Vader Master. And Revan'S, for those who are not familiar with this character, is the servant that appeared in Rogue One while Vader was resting, and Revan'S informed Lord Vader that Director Krennic had arrived. We basically see the origins of this servant. If Vader's castle wasn't scary already, this shows you how mystical and how mysterious Darth Vader's castle ultimately became. The Mustafarians recognized the dangers of it just existing. It was not something that you could just destroy easily. The origins, of course, we know why Darth Vader chose Mustafar and chose to build the castle exactly as it is, because of Lord Momin and his help with uncovering the key to the other dimension. The dark side locus that was located right beneath the castle gave it its power, gave it something special to behold. Now, to amplify that dark, mysterious mysticism, we go beyond just the Force. Now we go with natural gases that gave you hallucinations and practically made you go completely lunatic, mad, and beyond recovery. It is a very interesting way to showcase how Revan'S came to be in the service of Darth Vader. Darth Vader, even though he was an all-powerful Sith, he still needed somebody to be his day-to-day servant. And I know we might never see Revan'S again in the movies especially, but it was interesting to see the creation of that character, although I definitely think they were inspired by the Joker fully. So all in all, I want to know what you guys think as well. Talk to me down below in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below. Subscribe for dailies. Now you go have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you. Until then.